What's up, guys? Welcome back. I am at the project house again today. If you watched our video a while back, you know that we are working on a 101-year-old house. Tiny little thing here, one bedroom house, and we're trying to renovate it to get it ready to live in. And we're doing this with pretty much zero prior experience. So as you're watching through this, just know that that's where we're at. And it's been a wild ride so far. I think we knew about a lot of problems when we started, and our first goal was to get the exterior kind of buttoned up, with the exception of the landscaping and everything around the house, before it got cold. And so I spent a lot of time here in November and got it pretty well buttoned up, and then just jumping back into it now here recently. And it's been awesome. I learned so much. I've had some awesome friends who have came and taught me some stuff along the way, and it's been good. So I'm going to show you guys through this whole process, and then once we get to where we're at today, I need your guys' opinions on the shutters that I built. Well, I built two for one of the windows, but I don't know if I love them or not, and so I'm dragging my feet on building the second set. So at the end, tell me what you guys think. Start this project off, I had a lot of cleanup to do. This place had not been very well cared for some time. There's a lot of trash around that I had to load up and haul out, and then the landscaping was also quite in disrepair. The grass was all dead and kind of overtaken by weeds, tons of goat heads, and then these huge bushes out front that had root systems going into the concrete walkway and towards the foundation. So I wanted to get rid of those and then just get a good base of dirt to get me through the winter while I worked on everything, and then I'd be back to landscape in the spring. So I got it all cleared up, and Sadie would stop by every now and then to offer some moral support before she got back to work. And then I went back to digging up weeds and prepping for the mini excavator that I was going to rent. So I headed over to my second home, Home Depot, and rented a Dingo, which is like a little mini skid steer, just because the space was so small. And a coworker of mine lent his trailer to me, which was a huge help. And then I just spent a couple of days regrading all of the landscape to make sure that the water drains away from the house in the future, and to get rid of all that sod on top that was holding the seeds from all of the weeds and whatnot. So a lot of dirt ended up having to get moved, but it regraded out nice, and I ended up with a nice clean slate that I will get back to in the springtime. Went ahead and bought a bunch of new tools and equipment. There's some good sales going on, and I decided I did not want to skate by with not the right tools for this job. So I splurged, and I'm sure glad that I did. Today is the start of the actual renovation of the house itself. So this is where I get into the world of projects that I have nearly no experience with, and been a little bit nervous, not gonna lie, but I've been watching my YouTube videos and calling friends, talking to people, trying to get all the knowledge I can, but I think I just need to dive in. So today's the day. The first mission was to get those windows on the front wall moved out and up, and actually swapped out with square windows that match on both sides, so that they're no longer at chin height and you can actually see out to the street. So I dove into that. I had to cut through the wall, and as I did, I started to expose some stuff that I wasn't quite anticipating, from the studs being compromised to, well, this. Oh boy. That's not awesome. This whole wall might be coming down, so I can fix all of that. Might just be easier just to replace all the studs than to try to get all creative here. Cool. A bunch more work. So because the sill plate was all rotted out, I had to replace that, and I also wanted to do some repair work on the floor joists that were also slightly compromised down below. So that took quite a while, but buddy Jared stopped by, gave me a hand one night, and then I dove back into it the next day, reframing the wall for the new window. Now, my background in framing is pretty much zero, with the exception of a little bit of work on cars. And after I got it framed, because the wall was actually uninsulated to start with, I put some insulation in and then got the wall sheathing up and weatherized it. And then I put the new window in. Next, I moved over to the other side and was planning to do a similar process, since I figured the sill would probably be about the same, and it was. So I tore it all apart and planned to start reframing, but I realized that the chimney was pulling that wall in. It was a whole chimney stacked up and hung on that outside wall, and because I was going to be reframing it, I wanted to be back square. So I hopped up on top, went Santa Claus mode, and removed it from the top down.
Hit the jackpot.
Then I had to go down below and beat it apart brick by brick, just so I didn't drop it all on the floor, because the HVAC return was right underneath it. So it was a bit tedious. But once I got that done, I went back out to start framing and immediately hit the sunroom glass. So that had to come out, and as I took that out and started tearing those walls, I found that the boards were rotten there too. So the entire porch had to come apart. And yeah, so it was just kind of a rabbit trail, and ended the day kind of feeling like I didn't really get anywhere other than tearing things apart. But I guess that's why I'm doing this. So I tore the entire deck apart, and I built a little carry system to lift the weight of the drooping roof over the porch in order to not only level it but also just support it, while tore out everything underneath it and rebuilt it back. Then I jumped back over to that wall, finished up insulating it, resheeting it, and weatherizing it, and then I started building the new deck. I framed it all up and then moved it into place. Took a while to get it to fit in there right, and then tried to get it all nice and level to match the house, or most of the house, and put a little cinder block wall underneath it, as well as getting it supported nicely, and then put some nice sheeting on it. And then had a buddy of mine stop by, help me frame up the front wall, get that all ready, and square up the porch roof line, and then we framed in the rest of the walls. Overall, the porch rebuild took me a few days. Got the weatherization up, the windows in, kind of got it dried in, and then I had to do some work on the foundation. The foundation had been degrading a little bit on the exterior. I had a foundation guy look at it. He said it wasn't structurally too bad, and so he just recommended putting a layer of concrete on top to prevent any further damage. So I did that, and then it was time for some roofing. Look at that. Dude, this is a work Subaru if I've ever seen one.
I was immensely surprised I was able to fit this in here.
My buddy DJ generously offered to come over and help teach me how to tear off and put a new roof on this place. So we started the first day with tear off all of the old shingles, and then we had to do some resheeting. But then the weather forecast for the next day wasn't so awesome, so took a little break and started the siding process. For the siding on the front of the house, we decided to go with a board and bat style. So we got the board on, and then the next day we dove back into the re-roof project. getting that done was quite a big box to get checked, and I was pumped. And then after that, we went back up to the siding, got all the bats on, caulked everything up. Then it was time to prime and paint. So got some primer on, and then Sadie came in and painted the soffit and the fascia. We decided to go with the black. And then we tried out some different styles of wood features on the front. Decided to go with the cedar board stained up to make it look like pillars on the corner and a little header. And then I had to figure out what to do with that little gable over the front door. It was so small that I could not come up with an idea, but I finally just pulled the trigger on something, and I think it turned out pretty good. And now we are back to its status today. So there she is. Got it all sided, the roof on, a lot of stuff painted. I got these wood accent pieces here on the front. That's all cedar, kind of made to look like a pillar, and then a big header board. And I just could not figure out what to do up here. And that's the design that I came up with. And I like it so far, but I could change it down the road if I choose to. And then we got the door set up. Sadie came in and got it painted a couple days ago, and it's looking pretty good. I think that's the color that we're gonna do the interior cabinetry and any other accent pieces on the inside that we decide to. And then I've got a few other things to wrap up out here before I dive inside, but I've got to figure out the shutter situation. So I built these two shutters here. I've got another window that I'm going to build a matching set for over there, and I don't know if I like them. Debating putting some sort of black frame around it just to kind of tie it together with the windows and the black soffit and fascia up there, but I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, put them down below. And if you guys are watching this thinking about doing something like this yourself, I can tell you two things that I've learned so far. One is it'll take way longer than you anticipate, but two is it's more doable than you would imagine even without a lot of experience. YouTube is full of good information, and there's a lot of awesome people who are willing to help newbies out, and I've definitely been utilizing all of those resources. So here we are today, here in the next few weeks, planning to dive into the bathroom, the interior. Gotta completely tear out this kitchen and the bathroom, remove some walls. So got a lot of work left to do. So stay tuned for that next video. Thanks for watching, guys.